the Nintendo 64. If you like problem-solving, three-dimensional puzzles, and chatting with your friends, then it may be for you. Today, Buddy is here to introduce you to the benefits of video games. My name is Alyssa, and I am proud to introduce Buddy, a guy who is the co-founder of the Blue Neko Studios, researcher of video games-related digital media, and an avid gamer himself. Please help me welcome Buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this quarter I've brought you several speeches about video games, how they're made, how to avoid people being dicks on them, and even a short story about an average gamer who rose up to meet his destiny as a hero. But today, instead, I simply intend to ask you why someone would even bother with these games. Well, as it may seem, they can be more than just a fun waste of time. In fact, as I'm sure many of you have noticed, there have been several advertisements about using these video games for educational purposes. Well, on May 30th, I found a news article about these different educational benefits by ABC News. In fact, a recent survey from Education Development Center and U.S. Congress-supported Ready to Learn initiative found that classes involving digital media, such as video games, could improve early learning when coupled with strong parental and teacher involvement. In fact, even some of the more mainstream games can help teach these kids basic skills. According to Ian Bogus, associate professor at the Georgia Institute of Technology and founder of software maker Persuasive Games, look at World of Warcraft. You've got 11-year-olds who are learning to delegate responsibility, promote teamwork, and steer groups of people towards a common goal. But maybe it's just for the kids. Show of hands, who here thinks that adults don't have anything to learn from games? No one? Well, actually, you have a point. The same article states that research underway from the Office of Naval Research, or the ONR, indicates that video games can help adults process information much faster and improve their fundamental abilities to reason and solve problems in naval contexts. In fact, results from the ONR study show that video game players perform 10 to 20% higher in terms of perceptual and cognitive abilities than non-game players. But it's not just the Navy. There are some careers that benefit from this too. In fact, a study published in the February edition of Archives of Surgery say that surgeons who regularly play video games are generally more skilled at laparoscopic surgery, which involves making small, very precise cuts along the abdomen. Things you don't want to make mistakes on. In addition, according to Dr. Jeffrey Takeman, the director of Duke University's Human Simulation and Patient Safety Center, serious games and virtual environments are the future of education. Again, all these found on May 30th on a simple article by ABC News. But there are a few things that do drive people away from games, like, how many people here think that playing video games can form unhealthy habits in people? Quite a majority, if not unanimous, save for possibly myself. Because according to a survey tested by 2009's annual review of cybertherapy and telemedicine, found that gamers who suffer from mental health issues such as stress and depression, things commonly found these days, unfortunately, were able to vent their frustration and aggression by playing video games, and showed noted improvement. Dr. Daphne Maurer of the Visual Development Lab of Ontario's McMaster University made a surprising discovery back in August of last year. People suffering from cataracts can improve their vision by playing fast-paced action games. And she believes these games require an extreme amount of attention, training the visually impaired to view things more sharply. And it's not all just sitting down either. In fact, yesterday, or last week I should say, Justin gave us a speech about dancing. Well, there's games for that too. The rather popular Dance Dance Revolution series is a very common way for gamers to burn calories and produce the same kind of fun that some people would have from dancing in other ways too. Of course, the one sensitive topic in video games is violence. Now, how many people here believe that violent video games can change a person's disposition? Again, a very sad amount. Well, according to the effects of violent video games, published in 2010 and polled June 1st of this year, the teenagers who were highly neurotic, less agreeable, and less conscientious did tend to be more adversely affected by video games. But participants who did not possess these personality characteristics were either unaffected or only slightly negatively affected by violent video games. In fact, violent video games are kind of like peanut butter, according to Christopher J. Ferguson, PhD of Texas A&M International University, in the same article. They're harmless to the vast majority of kids, but are harmful to a small minority that already have pre-existing personality or mental health problems. In fact, a new survey by researchers at the Massachusetts General Hospital Center for Mental Health and Media, published in July 2007 issue of Journal of Adolescent Health, dispels some myths and uncovers some surprises about young teens and violent video games. Cheryl K. Olson, SCD, co-director of the Center of Mental Health and Media and lead author of this study, says violent video gameplay is so common and youth crime has actually decreased. So most kids who play these games occasionally are probably doing fine. And I've forgotten to go through all of my slides. Silly me. In fact, gaming, it's not that much different from other things. Like, who was it in here who gave that speech on hunting? Thank you. You're a hunter. You don't have any violent or negative disposition, do you?
Depends on what.
Well, at least she's human. But on average, though, nothing too big. You know, and no one gets on her case for hunting, except for PETA, but they're on everyone's case about everything. And in fact, you know, and it's not like a small difference of opinion like that's going to change anything. Even Guy admitted that he's vegetarian and he doesn't really care if anyone eats meat, does he? No, of course not. So my question to you is, if we can be so accepting of all these small, different personality traits between each other, why do we have to have such a stigma against video games?